a quick double check to make sure that we are in fact live on Twitch and or YouTube. Um, I just have this little thing. Oh, I guess also I'm seeing it on the restream here. Oh, it's sending data to
It's
YouTube.
on. Hold on. I'm gonna listen to it for a second, make
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
everything
yeah,
sounds
yeah, yeah.
good. Say words.
Well, it'll already be saying words when you check on it because it's like moments behind. Cool. We're streaming live on the YouTubes and the Twitches. Confirm, Tucker.
It's good on Twitch. It's good on Twitch. I can check YouTube as well.
I'll presume if it's good on Twitch, it's good on YouTube. Um,
Okay.
okay, I cannot look at the restream screen because it's seconds behind, and it's so jarring. Um, welcome, the four of you and people who watch this in the future, because I just came back from Cuba, and I didn't have the coordination to say, hey, folks, be prepared for an episode today. Um, this is a fun little game that I'm running. Um, I need to lock in. One moment. We're collecting the thoughts. We're streaming. Um, I have to treat all of you for a moment as if I am, uh, uh, as if you are new players, because that's the only way I can like get across the things. This campaign is a part of a series of campaigns. This is the first time I'm streaming, but I run games professionally in a series called Tales of a Shattered Empire, and that tells the story of a bad place trying to get their shit together. It's an anthology series, so we have people all across the timeline. And this is later in that timeline rather than earlier. This is also a follow-up campaign to a campaign called In the Hope That We Are Loyal that took place in an adjacent little continent. I guess I can use my little map behind me to give direction, but I'll do that in a moment. In which we have some returning characters and some new. Um, my name's Jesse T. William. Some people might not know that. The Zoom capture will see my name right here, unless the screen is backwards. But yeah, I'm a professional GM, and today I'm exploiting my players to make content. They get a game for free, and I get to show the world what I'm about. Um, uh, I think that's all the stuff I'll say for now, because I didn't plan the introduction. I just planned the session itself. We'll go around the table. If everyone can say, and if you need me to repeat this, that's fine. Like first name, and how long you've been in the games. A rough estimate. You know, if you want to say like, oh, I've been in this many games. Or like I've played this many sessions, or I've played this many characters. You don't have to do all of them, but like one of them to get a sense of how loyal and you are and how good these games are. And then we'll introduce characters later. If you also want to talk about like your experiences with these other players, right? You can also do that. But we'll start in our top corner as always today. That's Andy.
Hello, my name's Andy. I've been in Jesse's campaign since October of 22. Over 200-ish sessions I've played that were counted because there's definitely a few that weren't counted on the list. But I've played with David in a campaign for a while, and John and Tucker I have seen in crossovers, and that's really about it between the two of them. But David, I do know pretty damn well. So
Heck yeah. Um, Crossovers, big word. What are crossovers about, folks? All of my games are run in this big world behind me across all sorts of periods of time. Um, and sometimes, and most often actually, I'm running multiple campaigns set in the same setting or same story at the same time, and oftentimes those characters end up in the same places. Um, uh, and in fact, one of the events referenced that will be referenced in this session was like the cumulative crossover um, of that In the Hope That We Were Loyal campaign. But anyways, enough fun facts. Talker.
Hello, I'm Tucker. I actually just went and checked our old messages. It was October of 2022. So it has been over 2 years, which is crazy to me. I don't remember what else you asked.
Yeah, that part was fine. Name is fine. And then you can do a fun fact about like your relationships to these other players.
Um, I I have not really met. Well, I hadn't really met John before. I knew Andy in passing. David and I, though, David and I play a lot together because he's in one of my games as well, a shared player, if you will. Um, we both torture David on a near regular basis, weekly.
Indeed, indeed, incredible. And don't worry, there will be more torture this campaign. Um, John.
Hello to the internet. Yeah, my name is John. I just actually did the same. Tucker, I scrolled back. I joined in the last week of September 2022, so 1 week ahead of October from the others. But that seemed to be a popular time, I guess, for people hopping in. I don't know how many sessions I've been in, but probably 6 campaigns, maybe 5 or 6 campaigns. And yeah, I've loved each one of them. Um, and yeah, in terms of experience with the fellow players, I think I've played the most with Andy, because even though it was a crossover, we were, in the same party for at least a couple months there. And yeah, excited to play with everybody else as we go through this story.
Oh yeah, I was like, there's so many games. I was like, which party were it was Andy's character who was like extended crossover in the campaign in the Evans, right. I'm gonna find right now how many, if you've left a review, how many sessions you've paid for at least. Um, uh, Elijah's at 249. He's almost at 250. Um, John, have you? Oh yes, you have 121.
I would
Uh,
have guessed more, honestly.
I mean, there's a degree to which like there's a lot of crossover, it which like you don't pay for, and so they're not counted in the session count. So realistically,
True.
like most people who've been in extended crossovers are probably like looking at 20 to 40 more sessions, at this point of just how long it's been. Uh, but anyways, lastest but not leastest, David.
Oh boy, that's me. Um, I also don't remember the number, so I would love that comment review checkup. But yep, I've played a lot with Jesse, and I actually started my online D&D journey in Jesse's games, and it's been a wild ride from there. And have a running campaign going with Andy and a running campaign going with Tucker, and I do love being tortured on a weekly basis. It's one of my my favorite things.
David, you've played 70 sessions that have been counted by Start Playing. Also, plug for all the people who are going to be watching who are discovering this for the first time, viral stream. Um, uh, my professional DM stuff is on Start Playing. I should have put. I don't know if there's a link that'll be in the description here. But you can find it through YouTube stuff maybe, or Twitch stuff. Uh, uh, or find me on Start Playing, Jesse T. William. Um, but heck yeah, we'll get a little started. It's always strange starting a new campaign because you just kind of have to get into it. Um, so
Yeah, it's always awkward at the beginning.
sorry, and I am gonna be genuine to myself here. I got caught because the first line is go to hell. But it's because Andy spoke. I was like, well, I need to give space, so I'm not just like go to hell. So now that's been clarified. Go to hell. Maybe you'll find your salvation there. I want us all to begin to picture in our mind's eye. I like to start with feelings sometimes. Hot. Very hot. Humid. And we see shades of red. Up above, red-leaved canopy. And down below, we see red blood. We see the light coming down, catching on red crystal. And we see a corpse, a figure, much like some of the art we have on our screens, in white and gold, with cloud white skin, horns, and thin red, almost like marbling. This is a Helite, legally distinct from the other devilish race that we might find in D&D, as we're playing a different game called Legacy and Saga. So think about that. As we maybe are looking down on this figure, pulling up in our mind's eye toward the camera, kind of that like slow, dramatic kind of spin, we see other bodies as well as homes that are damaged or torn by what looks like large claws. And we have a sense of abandonment, a sense of this place was fought for and lost. As we slowly fade out from that moment, we will fade in the sounds of clashings of swords, of shouting. And as more and more sound comes in, I think our tension begins to come down. We see a vast, lively city. Dense population. It feels almost like there are too many people here. We have that sense of heat. We have this very medieval to Renaissance, like wood style kind of building, much more, what's the word? I don't want to say necessarily advanced, but perhaps well put together than the little village we might have imagined just moments ago. We see buildings that are 3-4 stories tall, and we see in this sort of distance of the city a very large tower reaching into the sky. The top of which I don't think we see from this angle. As we come down, we see a courtyard in front of a temple. We see banners of white and gold with the symbol of a broken sword on it. And we see many people training in this courtyard, in this like temple exterior. Again, in those colors of white and gold, if they have their armor yet. And as we focus in on two characters in particular, Tucker and David, if you could describe what your characters look like and what they are doing, but don't tell us anything like personality-wise about them. And then we'll enter a scene with the two of you.
Yeah, I think in the camera of being kind of zooming in from an exterior view. It's a young man who has this gold and white armor on, and it seems to be a heavy variant of the other ones, and has kind of smooth but a little rugged blonde hair and a bit of a larger build, and is probably holding a shield and looking past. If you're going to survive, you got to hit harder than that.
In stark comparison to the smallest, mousiest little boy you've ever seen. Dark hair, dark eyes, just a little thing. I think he's pretty short. I think he's like 5'4". um, very lithe, very like thin features. Again, just a squirrely little creature.
Wonderful. Now I will again, I'm trying to run this game as I would, mostly as I would in the regular professional games. I do want to just clarify something. So the session 0 happened a couple of weeks ago. And then I just I just got back from a big vacation where I was doing very important things. Um, uh, you without giving too much context away, you guys were double confirmed from the south had to leave, right? Okay, cool. There was a small note that I in the preamble before the session started that made me doubt. Wonderful. In this courtyard, there are a lot of people. It's almost like, I think there's a lot of people waiting on the outside to like have their moment to train or practice. And there is this energy that hangs over in the air in this oppressive heat of Folia that there's like a somberness. For Tucker and David, who did your characters have to leave behind?
I hadn't really thought about it. Mm, I think for my character, there was not to be fucking edgy, but maybe not so much left, which is sort of the reason that he like followed off in this direction, because the thing that he did have left was kind of pursuing. I mean, he would have to go regardless, but the person that he did still have remaining was pursuing something pretty specific.
I think in the same situation, maybe relatives, but no, but more distant second relatives like cousins. And I think the most distinctive thing that was left behind was their childhood village and the memories that were grown up there.
In the wake of what was left behind, the feeling that hangs over the city of the Cloud Tower in this moment is perhaps a question, or embodied by a question, which is, we don't know if there will be anything to return to if we survive. I think we'll pick off of that little button that David gave us of you'll have to hit harder if you're going to survive. I think there's just this like there's this reminder, right? There's this fresh wound that sometimes surprises us. And maybe if the two of you you know, like up to the interpretation of your characters. But you know, Noel, is that how you'd say the name?
Noel.
Noel. If Noel says that, and then like maybe strikes something with is Ismarie?
That's about right. Is Marie? Yeah.
Ismarie? Okay. Maybe strike something with Ismarie that kind of like echoes through the kind of people around, right? Whether it's heard or not, it's just like, oh, and for a moment, Ismarie is connected to the other people who are like, yeah, my fucking dad's dead. You know, like someone's like left behind. I don't know where they are, if they're alive, if they were cut down by some strange creature. So yeah, as that delivery of you'll have to hit harder if you're going to survive. How is that received by Ismarie? And then kind of like what, you know, and then have a scene about it.
um, well, I think it's received poorly. Uh, but in a way that like is familiar. Um, Ismarie takes a few steps back. It is sort of clearly like a little frustrated visually. And says in a way that is I think attempting to be a little antagonistic, though I think that perhaps in his attempts to be antagonistic, he probably never is that antagonistic to Noel. um it gives us sort of like almost childish, like, well, I guess I won't then. It's very, very immature.
Well, I guess I gotta do it for you then. Hey, you got your magics.
um
But you know, a good bonking with a stick is a good backup.
well, I guess you're gonna have to do all the bonking then. I have a question for God.
For God.
Yeah. How like common are casters in the Legion?
Yeah, in the Legion, which is the thing that you're a part of, common. Like we talked a little bit about it in session 0. Um, but it's people who are religious adjacent, right? In the context of Legacy and Saga, that means like cleric shaped, but maybe not necessarily like the power of anime and God on my side. In the sense of like, you know, anyone can be religious, but not everyone has that like connection to higher power, as is a mechanic in Legacy and Saga. But yeah,
And I think with that, there is an added, like, as these like his eyes glance around to the other people surrounding us, there is an added plenty of others have gotten far enough without it. I'll be fine. I've been fine.
There's lots of ways to fight, Izzy. Just do whatever you can. Make sure you stay behind me, okay? That's what the shield's for.
I think as the two of you
He
kind
rolls his eyes.
stop to have this moment, kind of talking again, like there's people waiting around this kind of courtyard to like get in to have whatever practice for the day, right? It's there's so much density. I think the person who's like in command of this area, or maybe even the two of you in particular, you see a man who's like older, like maybe like was should have been retired recently, if not for certain events going on. I think as he's like walking through the different people and being very watchful as to not get, you know, clocked in the side of the head by things being swung around, will say something to the effect of, goodness, sorry, word process so quickly, stream, happen. He'll sort of shout out, 20,000 of our siblings are coming down to end us. There's no time for talking, and we'll kind of like send the two of you, however far you in your like training session, we'll switch you out with other people, and send you into the sort of dense city. If there's anything that you want to characterize about that, or like lead off in the scene, feel free to do so. But otherwise, we'll begin to like montage and transition into our next introductions.
I think Ismarie is annoyed and mutters under his breath the whole way out.
See you, Izzy.
Wonderful. As the two of you part ways in the Cloud Tower, it's hard to move through the streets. A significant portion of the entire southern population of the province of Abral Hero in the country/land of Fulia has ended up in this one city, which was not built to accommodate so many people. There's a feeling of fear, a feeling of like, you know, resources are okay right now, but at any moment things can change. And also there's with this threat of this strange cosmological thing that is happening, this divine thing, as well as how it influences amongst the rest of you know, like our other faction members who have a different perspective. The day will turn to night, and we will transition ahead in time. Unclear how long. Under the light of the moons and the stars, breaking through the kind of edges of the canopy, we see, I think, from behind the character that we will shortly introduce is shoulder, a just like wall of light. Not as if to say like a flat wall, but like you're looking ahead and you're seeing the backs of fellow soldiers, and at a certain point, the light of the magic that is being exchanged and cast here, um, like blinds you from seeing, like further detail. Um, the person who I am speaking to, which you will probably figure out in a moment, you are at this point a follower. You're at the back of the lines. You're holding a sword for really in a meaningful way, in a way that you intend to really use it for the first time in your life. Andy, if you could describe what your character looks like, and in this moment, this is the like cumulative moment of your life, entering a battle with the rest of your brothers and sisters in arms. Yeah, what your character looks like, what they're feeling.
Wald is he's a skinnier side of character. I've decided he wears glasses at this very moment now. He was a cleric, like scholar of the Legion. He didn't really fight much, but always wished to. His family was, part of it, and he felt he was supposed to, stay home and be learn to be a magistrate, but he felt useless. He's probably not in good battle attire. He's he has like his uniform under it, which is more of like a move around to tell people, hey, part of the Legion, but he's not a warrior. And then probably parts, little pieces of armor that either he was given when thrust into this, and he is holding the sword wrong somehow. Uh, how can you hold a sword wrong? Hold it. He's holding it wrong somehow, and he's overwhelmed by everything he sees. But he's here to do something. He's here to fight for the first time. He's a chance.
At this point, the lines are locked. The clinch has gone up, in which the magic of the moment overwhelms the center, and hopefully either there is at least a stalemate or your side wins. But these people, these corrupted cult followers that have emerged in the South, have prepared for this moment. They've been defending this place from the righteous for months, since the faith stand. And I think for your character, there's probably a feeling of like you don't know if we're gonna make it. Like I think the thought of your death is very real in this moment.
Yeah, he's a very like intellectual person, and so I think he's seeing too much information at once, and a lot of the information is telling him we ain't doing that good.
Mm.
I have to try. It feels like it's weighing on him, even though obviously he's not a center point of this fight at all.
Lines are locked, and your moment is coming. As we enter into that bright ball of magic where the two sides are meeting, we see that there are like trenches, not where the enemy is defending from, right? They're not in the trenches. They've dug trenches, and there are magical barriers that they have enchanted the entire perimeter of the vast city of the Cloud Tower, including the nearby abandoned city of Valina. I was about to say the wrong second name, just Valina. A like truly like insane project to have put up in such a short time, but also this is the work of mages, which does not make its way into the north. And given what like terrible forces they are probably working with, it makes sense. John, before we start with what your character looks like, I'm going to give you a little bit of context for how Gus is feeling.
Okay.
The air tingles to the point of pain. It feels like you are in moments on fire, and then like your body is drained of energy and then restored in energy. The armor is hot, but not so hot that it is burning you or giving you serious burns, and certainly not at the point yet of melting. You are in the center of the clinch, and your life is mostly dependent on your side winning the magical calculus of the moment. The pressure is not so heavy of the magic that you like can't move, but your movements are slowed as you presuming that the little flail thing you have, if you were to swing that, it would literally move not with an absence of force, but with just like a slowed amount of force. When it connects, it'll connect, but it's like slow. So with that in mind, obviously we have a little photo of Gus there, but if you could describe in your own words what Gus looks like and how he is fighting in this moment.
Yeah, for sure. So Gus, or well, Gustav, but goes by Gus, is just a wall of a man, very, very large, probably in contrast to a couple of the characters here, I think. He's probably like 6'5", very, very bulky, and covered in that same white heavy armor. I think the thing your eyes would be drawn to the most, it would be though where his armor is not. You can see like most of that skin is just covered in tattoos, but like a strange mishmash of tattoos. Like there doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's just a name. Sometimes it's like a verse of like a song or a poem. Sometimes it's art. Like it's all sort of um, mismatch. And then he has that broken sword just on the center of his neck. Um, and yeah, I think that's sort of what he looks like in terms of what he would be doing, um, and how he would be fighting. I think his priority would be trying to get as many people out of the area of the clinch as sort of possible. So focusing more on trying to protect those, and maybe just trying to um, shield as many people from those effects as possible, uh, as he was going through. As probably, a more experienced person, assuming maybe some of these people have never even experienced a clinch. So just sort of like trying to prepare them and explain what's going on as well as you can.
I'll give you a slight reframe and
Sure.
explain the lore of the clinch, which is that like the clinch happens where the front lines meet. And it happens intentionally. And the kind of strategy of the clinch is that if your side is successful, your side comes out mostly, mechanically speaking, higher hit points, more energy. Like the healing magic of your side has overtaken the damaging magic of the other side, which means that the other side is immediately weaker, and then behind that are usually in smaller scale encounters, like the mages or the archers, right? So it's like you would be intentionally in the middle of the clinch, hoping that your pals get you, but also like in the context of Falia, most people have not seen like extreme warfare like this. It was like, oh, there's 200 people on one side, 200 people on the other. The numbers are so much bigger. So maybe in this moment, Gus sees, rather than like because to build out the idea that Gus is being more helpful than like directing
Yeah.
action. Number one, you see that the enemy is like built the fuck up for defense. You know, like they have their shields up. They're barely attacking. They're just eating your damage. But also you see that like you know, some people have never experienced a clinch before, and Goss at least probably has, and you know, the skirmishes that have happened in the past 15, 20 years. So as you kind of like you know, someone is freaking out, and you kind of like maybe put a hand on their back and just kind of like make sure that they're there with you. The clinch falls, and not 20 feet from where you are, there is this like loud breach, this like shattering sound in the magic of the enemy's defenses, and immediately like the Legion begins to flood into this place to try to like get past and break the lines further. Anything you could characterize about like that break, and as the magic comes down, and as Gus has a moment to actually like speak above the noise of the clinch, and actually like move your mouth at a rate that, you know, you're not having this pressure against your jaws, or anything you say as you see this like person like almost like overwhelmed, like for a moment, like in the magic of a clinch, you're constantly taking a lethal amount of damage and being also healed by it. So it's like coming down from like, I've just died 10 times. Anything Gus says
Yeah.
to him.
I think I just have my hand on his shoulder, put my other on the other shoulder. Just breathe. Are you hurt?
You see, make a John, do you have charm? Is that one of your skills?
I have a thing where I'm not skilled in it, but I have rough edges and I'm friendly, so I do have dice to add to charm.
Okay. Do a little charm. We'll have a relatively low target, given the context of like you're a brother in arms. You help this person
Okay.
at a moment. We won't give it a high goal.
23.
23. You know, like you see the person breathe, and like they're like almost at the point of hyperventilating. You know, like the armor's still hot, and that's a thing that feels more dangerous than it actually currently is. Especially at night, it'll cool down quicker, but it's fully is not a cold place by any measure ever. I think how much experience do you think Gus has in war?
So I mean, I'm probably like 45, so I would have joined as sort of young as I theoretically could have, I guess. So, you know, however many sort of conflicts the Legion has been involved in that, call it whatever, 20-ish years, I think he would have been involved in. So yeah, I would think he's fairly experienced if there was things happening in that time.
You see a look that you've come to know of the look of someone who does not have it together enough to survive the next minute and 30 seconds. And that's just how things go, right? You can't mourn that.
Yeah.
The Legion is a structure of war, is an arm of war. But a person, you get them together enough to continue, and the training and the direction of like, this is who we're supposed to be kicks in. They'll give you a very confident nod, but you see in the eyes are not focused. It's too like overstimulated, and they're going to miss something that ends their life. But they turn and follow towards the breach with you closely behind. Ewald, magic comes down. You hear the shattering sound, and the Legion begins to flood into this breach. And suddenly there's space growing between you and the next person. If you'd like to characterize that moment and what you do.
I think he probably doesn't move immediately. I think he knows what he's supposed to do. I think he knows what everyone, like to a degree, they're supposed to do. Like he's researched this. He's never been it, you know. And I think everyone starts moving and it takes a bit for him to, move. And I think he gets, pushed around and kind of forced to follow the crew. And I think in the craziness, I think he also probably loses his glasses.
Mm.
Um, and like his shaggy, light brown hair is like covering his eyes and like not doing good, but he can't go back for them. They're probably already trampled. Like,
I like that detail. That'll be an important detail for later.
oh really?
Um, as the lines move forward, you join in. And I think it's a thing of like you are unfortunately close to where the breach happened, where like the sides will be joining, but you being in the back, it's like you kind of end up somehow getting closer to the front as people spread out.
Yeah.
As the Legion rushes in, both you and Gus, in right in this moment, complete different places, breach through the lines and see like this open space, and there's not enough time to begin to really think about like there feels like a lack of defense, like there's a gut feeling that's wrong, but there's no time to act on it because we are moving and we have a goal. We begin to see rising more magical barriers, like a kill box, basically. Same as the edges of the defenses, but now like further in, like that breach was almost a setup, and you watch as they come up, and like the Legion from behind does not know that there's a kill box ahead. They cannot see, so people are being pushed forward and forward. And well, I think for you in particular, you see that there is someone in front of you, is between you and the magical wall, and you are pushed into him, and he is pushed into like the wall, and you see he's like not like flattened immediately, but like he's pressing up against it, and you can see that there is like fear and maybe pain that his body is protecting you from that experience, and you were like pushed up against him. I imagine, Gus, that with your experience, you probably would have been one of the first people to kind of like stop as you noticed that you got that like gut feeling. Do you think that's true about Gus?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Um, uh, do either of you have intuit, or intellect?
I have intellect.
Okay. Then, Ewald, can you make an intellect check?
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry. That's right. Math, sorry. Not dice.
Do a math.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm not good at math, guys. I'm sorry about that.
You can shout out the numbers if you want, and I can put it together.
There's only thousands of people watching, Andy,
36.
so
36.
It's
Cool.
the viral.
Uh,
So many people.
36. I think, yeah, this is the most viral TTRPG stream that's ever been. I think you can put together the math of a kill box. I also think you see near you something is glowing on the ground, and the thing that you interpret from that is like, oh, this is terrifying. This is a terrifying trap you've been put in, and this is the end of your fucking life. As the Legion floods in, you see like as like these magical barriers come up and like produce light, you see that like 20, 30, 40 feet out, there's like people waiting, and they're just like largely like watching or managing the magic, but the majority of them are like waiting. And it's this fucking haunting feeling, right? There's nothing more unsettling when you're in the fight of your life and your enemy is just kind of chilling, waiting and watching. You see that like some of the members of the Legion are almost like finding the cracks between these places and like pushing through. And you see as they like stumble through and get to the other side, they are like immediately shot down. Like there's this slow kind of encroaching of like as some people make their way out, especially through like Ewald's blurry sort of vision. These figures themselves also blurry. Seeing that like a handful of people step out from the enemy lines to just like meet and cut down your comrades. Gus, I think you're more center. I don't think you're up against any of the walls. But you know, in some sense, what's happening, right? You know this is bad. The whole experience of this has been like deeply unsettling, where on the approach to the cloud tower, there's all this like propaganda of we don't want to fight. That like is some twisted appeal to your humanity, to deceive you further. And it's just like I think in this moment the perception of darkness within the enemy shakes you, right? It's almost beyond belief. You see this light emerge from beneath everybody. And there's this sickly yellow begins to shine that is guided almost, pressing up against this arcane blue. And something begins to rise amongst this kill box. Massive, 30, 40 feet tall. Green skin, multiple sets of yellow crystalline horns. Some kind of creature from beyond, the likes of which you have never seen before. I think in the matters of faith, there is sometimes a question amongst people who are worshippers in Fulia of how tangible, how real the things, the stories of angels and devils and demons are out there. And in this moment, for the first time in your life, it becomes tangible before you. And there's this levity as you witness this, as it comes through the ground and people are thrown to the side, on top of other Legion members. This like weight that is pressed off of your mind. Suddenly there's this like clear sense of focus as you behold this thing. And Gus, I think in your years of experience, right, up to this moment it's felt like a kill box. But no one is being killed in the box, and you see the thing that you presume would sentence you, but as it rises to its full form above these magical barriers, you see that there are these like magical arcane blue tethers that wrap around it and hold it and restrain it. And the first thought, the strategic thought is, okay, this is a thing that is they're going to take power from and use it to kill us. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening here. The cult that has risen in the south, that worships these beings, that twists the minds of friends into foes, pushes people against each other. this is some creature that is evil, it feels evil. And they are binding it, they are preventing it from moving. And the clarity that you have in your mind, there's a weight that's been lifted in your mind. I think you can imagine where I'm going with this, John, if you want to take it from here, what Gus is experiencing.
I think the first two feelings that would come to mind would be fear and maybe like a bit of shame because I'm still confused by what's going on, but I understand enough that if this is on our side, something's gone wrong, something is not right. And I think in that moment, maybe like a bit of clarity comes over him as well, where it's um, where I realize that something is not right about what's happening with us in this this quest that we are on currently.
You see that person who shouldn't have lasted a minute and a half still there. I think someone shouts out like something to the effect of like, they're going to kill us. They're going to kill us with devilry. Some kind of like big terrified statement. And I'd like to imagine that for this, like whoever's in within earshot, that Gus is the first voice of dissent against that. It's the trying to justify yourself, them trying to justify themselves, their actions up to this place. But do you think Gus shouts out in this moment?
Can't you feel it? It's 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 wrong. We're wrong. This is not meant to harm us. It is with us. Please, everyone, just and I think I see that it's not sort of taking at the moment and
Yeah, it's well, a couple of things. Like in your words, reaching out. It's there's dozens of other people shouting and coordinating and strategizing, but like all it takes is one, right? And you see one other person get it. They see this and look at the thing, and it's this like creature, and it's struggling against the restraints, right? It's not being drained, it's not being used, it's being bound, and they lock eyes with you and kind of repeat some kind of sentence like we're wrong. um and it's just like this slow kind of battle of words begins to shift. People like trying to assert themselves on the center, making its way as best it can out towards the edge. But Ewald, you're having a different experience. Number one, your glasses are gone. You can't see very well. But you see like 50, 60 feet away, this thing, this light, this shape. And you see it moving around, and you feel the additional pressure of people moving away from it, and you are pushed into this person in front of you, and you see that they're pushed into the barrier, and the like resistance of the magic is like dissolving parts of them, and they are screaming. So someone is screaming in your ear, and your face is almost like pushed up against them, and you see this out of the corner of your eye. You feel fear, and you're not hearing any arguments.
Yeah.
Towards sanity in this moment. Yeah, actually, I'll let you sit in that moment for a second before I continue on.
Yeah, I think he does probably hear something from the crowd, and I don't think it's what he needs to hear. I think it's that first, we're all going to die. And I think that is resonating, obviously, because there's a guy legitimately dying, you know, against him. Like he is terrified. And I think, tears probably streaming down his face that he'll claim as sweat. Um, and I think he prays uh, to the general, uh, like help me through this. I don't think it's like coherent enough to be like displayed, but basically like I will follow justice if you save me. Like quid pro quo, do something for me. I will join you.
The tenets,
Even though he's already with it, he's just begging, he's pleading, he's grabbing anything.
the tenets of the general are one of like no retreat, no surrender. You fight until you're fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
And pleading for like really, like I think the plea does not take a specific ask, but it clicks into your mind of like, oh, I need to fight.
Yeah. I think him pleading, help me. There's a voice in his head that's like, help,
Mhm.
help the general fight. You don't stop.
Yeah. You see the barriers begin to come down, and you see with your blurry vision, right? No glasses. These red shapes moving from your side outward. And you hear these now strange sounds, and you cannot see clearly what's going on. Um, uh, and so you do not have a reason to be given more pause. Um, uh, I think there is this haunting moment where the person you're being pressed against, and also like you're like your ribs feel like they're going to break, right? They stop screaming about 3 seconds before the barrier comes down in front of you. And the pressure, like the relief, you're knocked to the ground, like drop your sword for a second, and people around you kind of disperse a little bit. Um, and I think in this moment, with the lack of vision, um, you don't see that the people around you are beginning to take pause. You see, someone else get killed kind of more or less in front of like a body drop, right? You see that kind of like white and you see that gold, and that's all that you um, uh, recognize. And as you kind of crawl and get to your sword and see that there are shapes, there are shapes that are enemies ahead of you. Describe for me, like how a Wold goes to take the fight to the enemy. How does he? Not even like you don't get there, or we won't describe to you the point of you getting there. But just those like steps and that intent and the conviction.
I think the first instance after the wall, the barrier fades. I think he's probably lands on top of this person that he was crushed into, and even through blurry vision can make out, this person's missing a lot. They died before the barrier. They're dead. They fought until they died. That's what I need to do. And I think it's like a crawl to get away from the people, and he goes to grab a sword, anything, his sword, maybe the guy who died's sword, he doesn't know, and he picks it up and sees someone die, uh sees what looked like what he thought was the enemy, and I think he picks up the sword, and I think he probably doesn't even say it as loud as he thinks he does, but like, if we fall, we continue, and goes to charge, full of tears and slobber and sweat and other people's blood, and a sword that he doesn't know how to use. He charges.
Gus, you see backing up before most of the barriers begin to fall. You can see clearly these like red crystalline like devil creatures digging their claws into the barriers and pushing themselves through. And it begins a thing of like someone calls it out before you do, and see that there's these like crystal things like amongst you, like crawling around, pushing people around. That it's like, when the fuck did they get here? Like it's that's the thing that like begins to like click. And then there's people who are dressed in white and pale green with gold masks, right? Like almost the colors, but like different presentation, different make. Who are all, you know, like casting magic of kinds that like of a style that you're not familiar with, who are being struck down by the enemy. And suddenly there's this coordination. People are like shouting out like to not even come back together, but like try to focus and calling out these enemies and these things, like not even understanding, but just like, I think we're wrong and I think these are the ones. And like, you know, that tension of people, of the pressure of people pushing up against you, you know, like the Legion, some people are just stopping and being like, I don't know what's going on, and other people are like, you know, seeing these like masked figures and like tackling to the ground. Other people are turning, you know, like as this crystal creature pushes past them and like goes to like swing a sword, and as they hit it, it turns and just like tears them apart. And that's where it like really clicks of like, oh, like it strikes you as it's not like, oh, it's a foe where you have a back and forth. It's a foe where it can tear me apart in a moment. And you know, pressure relief kind of getting pushed along a little bit. Gus is, I think, looking around for something to do, and you see this skinny kid, not even in like well armored, scrambling and picking up a sword. And you see that there are other Legion members who haven't got on program and are like, if they're lucky, being subdued, but like more than likely being shot down. Like you see like one person in particular, like just this like terrifying archer who is just like fucking headshotting things, and occasionally hits a Legion member. And I think you see like that person looking in the